Dr. Akin Akinpelu is a dream
realizer
for kings and C-suite leaders. He is an official member of the Forbes Coaches Council, performance coach, development consultant, and author of several books, including the award-winning 7-Star Teacher.
I watch Ake with a great admiration because he's somebody who believes in himself, and his love for education is very obvious. He's a great intellectual.
And the newly released From the Streets to Forbes. His purpose is to discover, develop, and deploy people and systems to their full potential. He's the CEO of Akin Akinpelu Learning and Development, an innovative consulting, training, and research-driven company demonstrating expertise in the service industry par excellence. Dr. Akin sits as the lead at a Rodeo Hub, an organization geared towards raising a new generation of educators that will transform the educational sector in Africa.
I still believe he's one of the best teachers I've ever come across. We had this program where thousands of teachers applied, and he was one of the 50 that were chosen.
Dr. Akin Akinpelu is a seasoned educational consultant and visionary leader with a keen sense of forward thinking and shaping the global educational system. He possesses about 20 years of extensive experience in leading, designing, developing, and implementing educational programs in different spheres, which include corporate, non-profit, NGOs, and government agencies. He is a respected scholar, consultant, and educational leader among national, regional, and global elected officials.
Dr. Akin Akinpelu was very real. His presentation was easier for me to relate with him personally.
He has consulted for many organizations and addressed millions of people in talks, training, and coaching throughout Nigeria, Ghana, the United Kingdom, Canada, Finland, Sweden, Estonia, the United Arab Emirates, the United States of America, and many other countries worldwide. He has helped to facilitate development projects, sister city collaboration, and public-private partnerships and cooperation amongst communities. Dr. Akin Akinpelu speaks to government, corporate and public audiences and campuses on subjects that bring about immediate changes and long-term results. He has consulted for Guarantee Trust Bank, Stanbic IBTC, 9PSB, Lagos State Government, Osun State Government, African Leadership Academy. He has addressed epoch-making events with the United States Consulate Office, professional business gatherings of Dubai, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and many more.
Dr. Akin Akinpelu, the exceller, who is now a great entrepreneur, so much together. You know, me and this man, we have some things in common. I used to be an exceller too. Dr. Akin Akinpelu was mentioning, institutional void, that no system is complete, that you have to look for the void and then, catch on it.
His quest for knowledge points is his trademark, as he holds a master's degree and MBA from one of the top 2 best universities in Africa, the University of Lagos, and proceeded for a PhD in educational leadership from Trident University, the United States of America, and his second doctorate in strategic leadership, honoris causa, from Miles Leadership University, in which all these rest on the bedrock of the Bachelors of Sciences. Also a partner of OARD and partner for TC Resource Technology in the United Kingdom, with partnership system from Amazon, Google, MySQL, Tableau, and APM, which is a united body of project professionals. He has been endorsed by global figures like Brian Tracy, John C. Maxwell, Scott Gerber, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, can we make welcome Dr. Akin Akinpelu.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, Chrisland. Can your energy be stronger? Good afternoon, Chrisland. Fantastic, that's better. Good afternoon, Chrisland. All right, so my name is Akin. I'll just be in your face for a few minutes. Sorry about the screen issue, but we are good, right? Let me honor and appreciate our Vice Chancellor. Let's appreciate Professor Chinedu Babalola. Do you want to clap very well for her? Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor, for giving this opportunity to do this. We do not take this for granted. Thank you so much. I appreciate the Registrar, Mr. Motoshaw, all the Deans of colleges. Thank you so much, sirs. Thank you so much for being around. I want to especially thank my team that came with me to speak. The first speaker, Dr. Dari. I'm sure that was a great icebreaker for you. Let's celebrate past the Dr. Oludari. Then, did you enjoy TMO? Let's make her feel so special. Let's appreciate TMO. Come on, Chrisland, clap and clap and clap and clap. You're going to do all the clapping today. So if you don't clap well, I'm going to sleep on you. Thank you. So hold on. So at every opportunity you have, learn to clap really well. So whatever you want to do it intentionally, and it will just be worth your time. So has it been worth your while in the past few minutes? As in for real, or just making me feel good? Has it been good? Fantastic, fantastic. So I will just add a few things to what the VC said, Dr. Dari said, and Dr. TMO, what she said, so that we can have. So every time I talk, for like 1 to 2 years now, one of the duty of my soul is to see the transformation of Africa. And that's one of the duties of my soul. It's one of the things that drives me. One day I was in Helsinki, and while doing something in Helsinki, Professor Lulumba spoke with me and said, "Oh, I'm around in that place." I said, "That's fine." He said, "I have a problem with what you are doing." So Professor Lulumba is somebody who is, when you talk about Pan-Africanism, anything Africa, that he's very strong at. It's probably one of the top 2 names in Africa. And said that, "I like what you're doing. You're trying to do a few things in Europe, but can you do this for Africa? Can Africa solve their problems? Can we get homegrown African solutions? Can we write let's write academic papers referencing African professors, African doctors. It doesn't have to be somebody in the US, in the UK, in Canada, or Australia, or Estonia, or something. Can we do something for Africa?" Then he asked me a question. He said that, "If I'm to ask you, what's your level of investment in Africa compared to what you have done with the Nordic region and Europe?" And I said that it has not been so good. And he helped me to see reason why we should be able to elevate Africa. And I tell you, and that's one of the things that led me to say that this year, part of my commitment is going to see how I'm going to impact about 200,000 young people across campuses in Africa. And that's why we are here today. Thank you for clapping. These guys here are good guys. They clap so well. Even till now, they still clap well. So let's see who is getting better now. All right. And so Africa is such a very interesting continent. And I'll start from there. In the midst of that, I get into the story and we're done. So let me explain Africa through a story that will help you. If I plant, cultivate, and harvest cocoa, and all I did was going to cost me $20. How many dollars? So let's be talking $20 then, because if you say Naira, the value is not so strong. So let's say $20. Good. If you sell that cocoa for $30, how much is your profit margin? Oh, you're not talking to me. How much? $10. Are you here? How much is my profit? Again? $10. So it means that I planted, cultivated, harvested cocoa for $20 and I sold it for $30. So I made $10. So the $10 that I made is enough for me to go to a good school. The $10 can pay the school fees of my children. The $10 can buy me a good car, can get me a good house. Because if I put $10 together and I put it on a grand scale of 50,000 people purchasing that, I become a big boy. Because if I do $10 times 50,000 people, that's probably about $500,000. That's a lot of money to bank on. People will see in the society and they will say, this guy, he's blown, he's made good money. This guy's doing well in life. I mean, $500,000 is like saying somebody's got 750 million naira. So you know that this one is doing well with life. Now I'm just under $30. Now what I sold was what? Cocoa. Now somebody comes from Italy, comes from France, comes from Estonia and says, I want to buy that cocoa, and buys it at $30. So I've made money, and I said, oh, this guy is a fool. You know, I've made a lot of money on his neck. Now I have 750 million to go chill with. Now this guy buys cocoa, goes back to France, goes to Italy, goes to Canada or any country, and guess what he does with the cocoa? He's going to process the cocoa, then bring out all kinds of chocolates from it that you cannot resist. He can bring out, give me names of chocolates that you know, talk to me. M&M, Zibri, Bounty. Now, so, do you know how much you buy one of those chocolates? Now, so he buys one for $20 or $30. Now he goes back. You thinking you've made money. Everybody's excited about you, hailing you in Africa, that you are part of the rich people in Africa. And guess what? This guy goes back to his country, processes it, and comes back with a kind of chocolate that you cannot resist. And he sells the chocolate for maybe, let's say, $60. A full pack, not just one, a full pack for $60. And when you travel, you want to buy it. When you get to the supermarket, you want to buy it. Some of you borrow money to buy chocolate. Some of you cannot resist chocolate. Anywhere you see chocolate is like a love language. Everything begins to tingle inside of you. You just love chocolate, and you could buy as much as $60 for just one pack. Now, how much has he made on the wise African? Talk to me now. Is an African selling $30? He is selling chocolate back at $60. How much has he made on a wise African? $30. $30, if you multiply by 50,000 people, you are talking about how much? How many dollars? That's a lot of money, more than you can dream of, that you thought the man made. So at the end of the day, you look at yourself, Africa. What is our advantage has actually become our disadvantage. There's actually nothing like an advantage being in Africa. The same thing I showed you the story is what you find in our gold, you find in our uranium, and every natural resources that we have. Africa does not even have any natural advantage like we would have thought again. So what is going on with Africa? What is happening to Africa? Africa is always wanting to get aids from different nations. Africa is always wanting to be helped. Africa will borrow from this union, borrow from this bank, borrow from this place. And we're excited because we want to grow our state, grow our country, and we keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. I hope you know that every favor, every borrowing that you get from another nation is not cheap and it is not free. Every time Africa borrows, we lose a level of freedom. Every time you hear, oh, $25 trillion just came to Nigeria, just know that Africa just lost another level of freedom. So at the end of the day, you look at the favor. It's not real favor. It's not good favor. It's bad help. Africa is nosediving and Africa is going down. The way it used to be 20 years ago, 40 years ago, is not the same way that it is now. And why am I saying this? Because you can just be floating. You came from a good family, you can afford a good school fees. At least you can come to Chrisland, so you're not like one of those schools, one of those students that would have to suffer to get to school. Now you're at Chrisland University. And to what end is that? Every time we get money from a nation or any organization, there's an agenda around it, because agenda is the strength of the universe. And everybody will push the agenda that they have. So what then is left for Africa? How do we celebrate successful people in Africa? When you see somebody who has a big car, who has a big name, whether he has true meaning of essence in life, or has vision or focus, we don't care. But we look at that kind of man, we clap, and we say, this is the kind of man I want to be. A man whose values does not resonate with the economics of things. Even if the man is killing people. So one day a young person spoke to me and said to me, no, he didn't speak to me. He was talking with his friend, and I overheard him that he was supposed to see me in the office for that. And he said if he has money, when money comes into his hand, what he would do with money, people will know. And guess what he said he would do with money? He said the girls will suffer it. He said what he would do with money. He told me, he was saying it there, that he would be a man. I mean, I don't think I can say that out. What he was going to do with ladies. How he was going to use money to do all kinds of things. And I was hearing. And he came and he turned to me. It was his turn. And I said, what's your name? He told me his name. I said, I heard what you discussed outside. I said, may you never have money. I said, may you be poor. May your generation be poor. Because you said, you just left a potential rapist for yourself and for your family and for your children in the future. What he was going to do with man, it tells you how African mind is. And the question we ask ourselves is, who did this to us? Africa is nose diving across all sectors. We're not respected. Every time we travel out of Nigeria, the aircraft bringing us back to Nigeria is always the worst of all. I hope you know that. You don't come back with the best aircraft when you're coming back to Nigeria. When you're leaving, you go with a good aircraft. The one that can crash, that's the one that they put you. Bill Gates looked at Africa and said one day that he's just looking at dead people, dongs. It calls us all shitholes, all kinds of things. That's how you are seen. Even with your makeup and your 10,000 likes, you are seen as shitholes. So the intention is this: what can be done for Africa? And let me tell you why. Because this is like the last, I think, in the annals of creation and in the calculation of things, this is the last generation that can ever help Africa. If this generation fails Africa, Africa is doomed forever. So what are you going to do about it? So that you won't just see that this as a motivation that they came and they hyped us and we went, I want to put a dream in your heart. I want to put a vision in your heart. I want you to go out of here fired up for destiny, to say, I think I am called to be able to change something, not just in Lagos, not just in Ogun State, in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. That's the best thing that I think you can get out of this place with. No African wants to go into people don't. I asked my mechanic one day. I said, this young man, you have worked with 3 people in 1 quarter. Is your behavior that bad? He said, no, sir. He said, my behavior is not bad. He said, nobody wants to learn again. I said, how do you mean? He said, this one that just left, when he came, he saw his friend who was doing Yahoo and was riding a Venza car, and looked at himself and said he was wasting his time and dropped work, the internship, apprenticeship, and went to do Yahoo. He said nobody wants to do the work in their hands again. Why? Because it's a generation that wants what is fast. A 2-minute noodles in generation. How do I make it fast? How do I get the money fast? How do I erupt fast? And every time you see somebody who's doing well, it reminds you of your level of weakness and the things that you cannot do for yourself. One of my trips to Accra, one day, I saw a group of girls talking. And they were just talking to themselves. Use what you have to get what you want. And they began to shake. And someone was touching this one. He said, oh, you have it, you have it. And they were hyping themselves. And here is a young girl who's looking for a future. And all she thinks she has as an asset, what she has as an asset is just her body that can be sold in transaction for money. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time I checked, and even till today, when they say factors of production, I hear things like land, labor, capital. I didn't hear buttocks, I didn't hear breast, I didn't hear penis. You need to see how Africans are treated as dogs, less than human beings, when they travel out of this place. Many of them would not tell you. Are we going to continue to increase our nuisance value? And we're excited about it. Those are my first thoughts this evening. Your emergence is going to be a process, and it's going to take you some time. I'm afraid, like somebody said, Africa is an endangered, we are filled with endangered species. We're endangered, and everything is against us. You see, that you are an African is first a disadvantage for you in life. I hope you know that. I've entered into places that they will say, can you move here, move here. There are places that tell you there's no racism, but the racism there is subtle. Subtle. I see it everywhere. They have a problem with the color of our skin. And you will celebrate everything that comes from there except yours. Somebody said that it is white does not mean it is right. And being black is not synonymous to lack. I hope you are listening to what I'm saying, and I just don't want you to be excited by just clapping. Africa is nosediving. And if I say Africa is going down together, then I say, God forbid, oh God, for in the name of Jesus, may I will rise. I'm telling you. What are you going to do about it? We celebrate, the people who celebrate as successful people in the society are people who should be crying for. And some of you that watched the wedding yesterday, that you entered into depression. God, when? God, how? God, I beg. I hope you know, after that yesterday's wedding, Africans will need therapy, particularly the men, because the pressure that will come upon the men to be able to deliver a ring that can buy 2 Rolls Royce. Well, sir, I know that is a joke. At least we'll buy 1 Rolls Royce. I don't think we'll buy 2. Because if they catch that girl outside. See, being an African is a disadvantage. Being a Nigerian is worse. People don't want to do business with us. They would rather go to Ghana. I hope you know there are whites that work in Nigeria, but they live in Ghana. They put their homes in Ghana and they come to Nigeria to work, and they because it's just 1 hour. It's like going from mainland to the island. I have a couple of them like that. And what do they say? We are safe. There's no insecurity in Ghana, and it is true. You see whites on the street of Ghana, they are so secure, they are so happy, nobody's harassing them. I tell you, if you see a Ghanaian on the road, genuinely, when they talk to you, you know that these people have good intentions. Ask a Ghanaian, can you tell me the way to this place? She can even take you to the place, and she has nothing in mind. Here, if somebody takes you to where you are going to, you should be afraid. That somebody is that kind in Nigeria, has no job, and say, where are you going to? Chrisland? And the person is far at Shagamu, and the man said, let's go. You know you have to run for your life. That's how I made some Ghanaian friends. But Ghana is not up to a state in Nigeria. Ghana does not have the kind of, but if you look at it, even the global context, people prefer to go to Rwanda to walk, to see Africa from Rwanda, Nigeria. By global competitive index, you are down. So in case you think your father is very rich, I'm just trying to let you know that by aggregation, we are not fine. To imagine Africa as a young person is quite difficult. And that's why we are telling ourselves, how do we spark up resilience and spark up hope for you? That even in the midst of that can there be a new set of people that can arise from Africa, particularly from Chrisland, who would say that I'm going to be different. And I'm going to deliver the future. And I'm going to make Africa proud. So in case your vision is just around Lagos, I'm raising it beyond Nigeria. I'm raising it to Africa. You must have a continental vision. Then if you are now poor, that you're from Nigeria is a problem. If you are now poor in Nigeria, I don't know what to say. You know, one day, my father came to Lagos and he was looking for a job. And his uncle said he should come to Lagos. So he came into Lagos, and the uncle was going out somewhere on the mainland and saw written on a chalkboard that they needed a cleaner at Nigerian Boroughs. And my uncle saw it. I was like, wow, maybe his younger one, who's my dad, could come fill in the position. So he told him, they gathered up through using typewriter, just got one page out, put up the CV. Of course, it's an empty CV. Somebody who came from village, he has nothing in his head. Put it there. Only God knew why they employed him. And he became a cleaner at Nigerian Boroughs. Listen to this. 21 years down the line, he became the managing director of Nigerian Boroughs. I wish that was how the story ended. But like I told you, if you want to clap, always be intentional in clapping. But I wish that what I just said required you to clap. Because one who rose from that place and became a management staff of the same organization, you will call it a miracle. You will say what God cannot do. You will say that God can raise anybody, he can do anything, and it's true. But I saw the man who rose to become a management staff of that organization. He returned back. If there's anything less than ground zero, I saw it. My father was sent on a training. By the time he got back, they told him to resign under duress. He said, why should I resign? I didn't plan to resign. He had built 2.5 houses. 2.5 means that the half part was still an uncompleted building. He built one in Lagos, two in Lagos. No, one in Lagos, one in the village. You know, I'm from Osun State, and another half in Lagos that he didn't finish. He didn't plan. He had 5 more years. And now he was told to resign under duress. He's got children, and the children he has was not 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, half of a football team with a wife and himself. And he penned down and he had to leave. But when he was leaving, he knew that he still had some things. He had 2.5 houses. He had 6 cars. My father had 6 cars. If you have 6 cars in the 70s and the 80s, you're doing well. My father had 2 Peugeot 504. He had 2 Peugeot 505 and had 2 B2 cars. Have you seen any of those cars before? Apart from the people in front here. So 2 children had 1 car attached to our name. Myself and my brother, Peugeot 504, the blue one, the navy blue. The other 2, they had their own Peugeot 504, the army color. Then the other one that had my sister in, then my mom was working at Thomas Watt, what you call Apex Mail, where they produce books. She was working there, so she had 1 white B2 to herself that she takes to work, and she comes back. I saw 6 cars become 4 cars. But it's like a movie, because if you see how 4 cars, it looks like you have not lost anything, because it's still a lot. I saw 4 cars become 2 cars. Bad, at least we still get car. The 2 cars, let me tell you how it is used. My father will use one. Then the driver will suffer, will take us around the schools. We're in Kaduna then. He would take me first to my school, take my second brother to his school. Before, when he's done, comes back to pick my mom before my mom could go to Thomas Watt to work. It was still like a movie. From 2 cars, it became 1 car. 1 Peugeot 504. That's when it dawned on us that we are close to poverty, or better still, we are back into poverty. Then my father called a meeting and said he's leaving. I remember 1991, he's leaving Kaduna and says that let's go to Lagos, where he has built a house. Sold the house he had in a Kakuri in Kaduna, partly because then they became hostile in Kaduna and a lot of riots were taking place. So we moved down to Lagos. When we got to Lagos, we had 1 car. We said we were off. My father got 400,000 naira for all he worked for in his life. 400,000 naira. That's the kind of money you will blow in your cafeteria. That's the kind of money you used to buy a gift to your girlfriend. But I hope you know that 400,000 naira as at that time is not the 400,000 naira now. One brand new Peugeot 504 was 4,900. One brand new, not makeshift, not Nigerian use, full, 4,900 for one. So let's say 5,000 to buy a brand new car. So if your gratuity was 400,000, you could buy 80 brand new cars. You know now, if you can buy 80 brand new cars, you're a rich person. 80 brand new cars. We're still excited that at least now we have something to build on. Guys, everything my father worked on, none worked. He opened hotel business, it went down. He opened a company, went down. We saw 400,000 become 100,000, 50,000, 10,000. You know what we did with the last 10,000? We used the 10,000 to repair the car, because as at the time, my father couldn't do anything again, so he got a driver. And I hope you remember how Nigerian drivers, you know, somebody's money is sweet to spend, but not your own money. You see that? You see that? So the driver messed up the car. He was supposed to be delivering money every week. The first month was okay, typical of an African. By the time you got to the second month, he began to give stories and stories and stories. So we were repairing. For 5 months, he did not deliver any money. And our school fees were all waiting for that money from that place. Then one day he just came and dropped the car to my father and said, I'm not doing it again. Not knowing that he had made money to buy another car for himself. The next time we saw him was using a nice golf car. Africa. Then my father was reduced to nothing. It means all of us were all reduced to nothing. You see, my father called a meeting that night. He sold the car for 100,000 naira. Peugeot 504. Sold it 1993. Sold the car. When we got 100,000 that night, the debt on ground was about 130,000. He could not even put money into his pocket having sold his car. He got very, very frustrated one day and he said to us, I cannot deal again. I have a house in Osun State, a beautiful mansion, 6 different flats. I want to go back to Osun State. Life is cheaper, life is easier, the country is better there. Let's go there and live. And told all of us to follow him. And the children, my mom said no, that she's not going, that she would rather stay in Lagos. They asked all the children one by one. We said we would not go. Then my father, out of anger, looked at us and said to us, it means that from today henceforth, how you will feed and how will you live your life is now in your hand. And we all echoed, yes, sir. That was when we resumed proper diet of poverty. See, we saw a little bit, we saw some, but this one, we resumed the class. Solid. A week after I went to meet our father, school is resuming. He said he has no dime to give anybody. Food stuff finished in the house, no dime. And he wasn't lying, no dime. He's a loving man. He said no dime. He said, that's why I told you guys, let's go back to that place. At least I have cocoa farms, I have a few things that we would do there. Then we had a meeting together. People who were sons of directors, daughter of directors, director of a multinational. We sat down together and we said to ourselves, the only way to make it in life is to hit the streets. We began to hawk on the road. That's where you hear the word from the street. What you see there, from the street. If I told you that I hawked 16 things in my life, would you ever believe it? Do I even look like somebody that has that kind of story? You would think that I've had it all good by life. You would think that, everything was just on the platter. You're still wondering, is it true, is it not true? I'm telling you, we go through hell, we just smell like heaven. And only God knows why he does not make that hell to show. But I can give an experiment to you that if you bring a tray, a big tray, and you put it on my head, I'm trained enough that I can walk with a tray for 3 hours and the tray will not move. A tray and with something in your hand, I can do it. Let me give you a rundown of the 16 things that I did. The first thing I sold, so my mother took us to a place called Apapa Wharf in Lagos. Then The first thing I hawked in my life was ice water. Everybody say ice water. Now, it's the same water that you drink in your house. But now, this one is sold. I know you guys are all rich kids. Now, have you ever bought Gary in nylon before? No, Chrisland, no. Have you bought sugar in nylon before? No, it can't be Chrisland now. Am I in the wrong school? I know I've been to a few schools. Is this Chrisland? Chrisland in Ogun State. Have you bought granite in nylon before? Why? You were just trying to be humble, right? I guess. Because if you needed sugar, you would have used what's that cube sugar? What's it called? St. Louis sugar. You know St. Louis, right? So what are you doing with granulated sugar? Maybe you were just trying to be humble. Now, can you imagine that nylon? You're pouring water, like just normal water that you drink. You pour water into it through a sieve, then tie it together and arrange like 40 and put block of ice on it, and you begin to walk on the road. Then I will carry the big bowl of water. I have like 40 to 50 on top of it, lots of blocks of ice to get it chilled up, and I'm walking on the street. I met a few friends when I started selling. Remember, we were rich. Now we're just getting comfortable in poverty. So you still have some steez. So I hit on the road and I'm saying, buy water. This is cold water. 1 hour I sold nothing. Then my friends, condition made them my friends. So they came to me and they said, they know, they can see I'm suffering, that I will not sell anything here. I said, why? This water is cold. They said, calm down. This is how to sell here. And they told me. Wait, Chrisland, what did you just say? No. You are kidding me. I heard something now. Can you scream it? Let me hear. No. Wait, you pay school fees, right? This is amazing. But it's not far from what you said, though. It's not far from what you said. So they told me this, how to sell it. Cold ice water tutu ray. And honestly, that was my induction. They were teaching me marketing strategy. Right? So I didn't even think in my head that it was bad English. What do you call it? When you repeat the same word the same time. What do you call it? Tautology. I didn't even know cold means ice. Ice is water. Tutu is just the Yoruba version. So I've said the same thing 4 times. So I would say cold ice water tutu ray. They said no. You have to use a tone with it. It's cold ice water. Cold ice water. They say cold ice water tutu ray. You know, he said it appeals more to people. I said, my God, my first class in poverty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I had to adapt. All my composure left. I had to start saying. See, as I started saying it, I started selling. How much was the water? 50 kobo. 1 naira. So it means that you can walk around the hot sun and all you come back home is 30 naira. 30 naira. Imagine the kind of headache you would have. Then one day, somebody called me and said that, we should step up. Because, you know, you will always look like your association. You know, and you see, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So the people that are now my friends, of course, who are my friends? They are not children who were going to good schools, not children who went to King's College or Queen's College. I mean, the kind of people I now had are friends who were selling cigarettes, Benson and Hedges, Agbo, all kinds of. So those are the kind of people I had around me. I can't even afford to toast. They help them to toast girls. I can't toast girls. I can only toast girls that sell Agbo. The people that can. Or you buy it and tell them to come back 5 p.m. to collect money. And not because you want to pay them. Because of the rubbish in your head. They now sit down inside the bus and now tell them to come inside and come and collect the money. Now told me that there's now a machine that can do sachet water, what you call pure water. I said, wow. He said that one, you'll be a big boy. You can sell that one for 2 naira. And later it became 5 naira. So we moved from weak nylon for ice water. We now started selling in thick nylon. What a good God. We started looking down at people who were selling ice water because we're now above their level inside poverty. Then we made money from there. I mean, I had real forward-thinking guys. One of them is Ejike Ozulumba. He walked up to, he's always having the ideas. He walked up to me and said, we are done with selling pure water. I said, what's the next? He said, can we start selling soft drinks? We jokingly used to call it minerals. I hope you know it's bad English. That's how they ask your governor, what are the minerals in Nigeria? They mention Coke and Fanta. It's still Africa. Africa. So if he had learnt that it was soft drink, he would have known that mineral means something else. So they said to us, let's move from thick nylon, let's move to bottles. Let's start selling in bottles. He took us there and we put money together. We started buying soft drinks. I will mention some drinks now. I bet you cannot know it. With all these things that you have been saying, you cannot know this one. The first drink I sold was called Green Sand. How many of you know Green Sand? I die. Okay, do you agree? Aha. Because I'm shocked that you know ice water, but Green Sand. After Green Sand, we had Tandy Gurana. Now you are quiet now. So let me humble you. Do you know Crush? Not the one you have on a guy. What's the color of Crush? Oh, the pictures. Okay, on the internet. Limca, you should know that one. And your voice comes up now. Mirinda. It depends on the version of Schweppes you saw. Mountain Dew. That's recent now. There was no dew on the mountain then. And we started selling and we started making money. We were struggling on the street. This is what we're doing every day of our lives. When school resumed, we would go, to go to school was a problem. My PTA was 100 naira. We rejected 3 schools. We could not pay 100 naira for PTA. Yet we used to be in private school. How much is 100 naira? Till we got a Baptist school that got 50 naira for PTA from us. And myself and my brother, we started going to Baptist school. Once you are back from school, before you go to school, you make some sales. You go to school, when you are back from school, you return back into sales. And you do that till the night, and you kept on. And when you're on holiday, man, it's a jamboree. Poor people, we used to be rich. When poor people look at us, poor people call us poor. People that are poor, they look at us and they call us poor. Ladies and gentlemen, one day I was speaking to a man in Nigerian Port Authority office. I sold a drink to him and he paid me and he said, I like the way you sound. You sound very, very intelligent. It looks like you're learned. I said, yeah. I said, why are you selling this? I can't remember exactly what I said to him. But what I would have said would have been, well, life happened to me and I had to take life into my hand. But I can't remember exactly what I said to him. And the man said, I will help you. You don't deserve this. And I said, in my head, I said, this is how people's lives just change. I thought my day of transformation has come. If there was a song like Jesus, maybe that's what I would have said. I was excited. The guy said, come and see me 10 a.m. I was there 9 a.m. There's no reason or usefulness of my life or destiny at that time that somebody will give me a time to meet him for 10 a.m. I will have a reason in the capacity of my brain to say I came late. What is the usefulness of my life? If they say show up 10 a.m., can't I be there 5 a.m.? Of course, what's the usefulness if just to be selling water? Do you know the time the man came? The man came 12. And the man started apologizing. I said, sir, don't apologize. I should apologize because you have something to do with your life. That you even came late. I should even be thanking. Can you imagine me thanking somebody who should be apologizing? You know, he that is on the ground cannot be afraid of a fall. It's not Peter Edotio. Then he said, let's go. Then I followed him. I just knew that this is the day that my life would change. I followed this man. And as we were going, the man went to a woman who was selling food. Inside again, I rejoiced. You know why I was happy? Who told this man that I've not had breakfast? That, see, if when God wants to help you, that's what I was thinking of. Because I thought it was God anyway. So, and what I was expecting is sit down, because I've seen rice. Because then we used to mix rice, beans, and spaghetti or macaroni together. That's how you mix it. And plantain. You mix like the four together. You know, they now buy like three water to step it down. You know, you don't need to have meat. You don't need to eat no meat. How can you afford meat or fish? Do you know we eat egg 3 times a year? Fried egg. Except the chicken that we're rearing at the back of the house. Just lays 1 or 2 is jamboree. 3 times. Where did I stop in my story? The woman selling food. All I was hearing is, please sit down, take your order. 5 minutes, nobody's telling me to sit down. I saw people moving up and down. I saw empty chairs, so it's not like the place is filled up. Pure booker. Then the next thing I heard is, he don't come. Say, nah, he don't come. Nah, him be that. Say, nah, him. Him go walk. You see? You know, I don't need any prophet to tell me that it is me that they are talking about. He said, he go walk. He said, he go walk. Hey, make it start now. I said, hey, make it start. Just said, Choma. There's a girl called Choma. Just came. Choma picked up Maggie Cube Star. Do you know Maggie Star? They used to have a yellow coverall. Brought it for me. Wore it like my induction ceremony into the organization. Wore it to me. She was gracious enough. She tied it from the bag for me. And she gave me my JD. Not called JD? Job description. What was my job description? Wash plate, arrange plate, serve food, go back to pick up the plates. And the woman told me, he said, in all of these things they have said, one thing, now you go make me crazy for you. I said, what was that? He said, my money no they miss. Like if it gets missing, I'll remove it from your 5 naira wage. Guys, that's how I started working. You see, one day my mom now got shop. My mom now got opportunity to have a shop. So we just transited into that. Then one day the police came, Nigerian Port Authority, and they locked up they told everybody selling or hawking in that place that nobody should sell there again, and they locked up that woman. I was happy because that woman was very wicked. My money was never complete. There was always a way to say there's a stain on something, that the 50 kobo will go missing, 1 naira will go missing, and a strategy to ensure you don't get your full money. They told all of us to leave the place. We left the place. But you see, the man that took me there, I marked his face. And I said, I couldn't say it out, but I said it in my heart. We will meet one day. Because I don't even have the effrontery to look at him in the eye and say we will meet. You know, it does not make, the calculation of what's happening in my life does not make sense. You know, that's bad help. No help is better than bad help. If you want to help me, help me. Don't drop me. Let me pause the story. You remind me where I stopped. Let me tell you how I marked the man's face. You see, in my place, they say when you poo, you don't remember. But the person that packs it will never forget. I really marked his face. Listen, one day, let me pause the story. I went to speak at Institute of Directors meeting. So you can imagine somebody who is on the street in the 90s. Then, in the 2000, His life has so transformed. I'm going to talk about transformation process. I need to end this in 10 minutes. And I finished a paper at IOD. When I finished the paper at IOD, I had people walking towards me and they said, oh, wow, this was good. We liked what we heard. You helped our organization. So people just want to exchange cards, business cards, just normal thing that happens in the business environment. And I saw 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just looked up. I looked at the 5th person. Guess who I saw? That man. I can bet my life that was the man. Somebody was talking to me. I was looking up. And he said, are you here? I'm here, sir. And I'm looking up. All I was doing is, can you quickly leave my front? There is a case I need to treat. So the man came excited. I think in the space of those years, he has just become an assistant manager. That's where he was. As at that time, he was just a a team leader, a supervisor. Now he's an assistant manager. And he came. He said, wow, that lecture was solid. And he began to speak. And I said, wow. I said, yes, it's solid. He said, you're good. Can you come? I want to replicate this training in our organization. We need to do this. I said, I'm interested. I said, what's the name of your institution? Your organization? He said, Nigeria, with confidence, Nigerian Port Authority. And I asked him 3 questions. Were you in Nigerian Port Authority in 1990? So. He said, yes. Was this your office? I mentioned the floor of the office and the number of the office. He said, yes. But how will I ever know that kind of thing? Then I said, do you remember there was a young boy that you took, that you wanted to help his destiny? And you took him to somebody selling food. The man denied, he said, never. And he wasn't lying. Because he has met a lot of people in his life. It's just that the person that packs it cannot forget. I reminded him, he denied it. But he said that with everything I've said about him, I must truly know him. I said, whether you deny it or not, sir, I said, I was the man that you sent away. Because why did I tell him the story? He said, can I have your number? I said, you have my number. He said, what do you mean? I said, we have met before. He said, there's no how I would have met a man like you and I would not have kept relationship with you. And I reminded him everything. But when he said I was going to train and I know the amount of money that was involved, forgiveness is easy. But I don't use money to play. So it's easy to forgive. Yes, even if I don't want to forgive. And he became somebody very close to me today. That's Act 1, Scene 2. Where did I stop in Act 1, Scene 1? So now there was nothing to sell again. You see, one day I came back from the secondary school. When I came home, we had nothing to eat. I don't know what happened that period. Maybe we didn't even have money, capital again, rather. There was nothing to eat. I went to meet a woman who was selling gari, sugar, and granite and fries. She sells fried fish, at her shop. And I went to meet the woman. My parents are not at home. I want to buy something worth 2 naira 50 kobo. When my mother comes back, she will pay you 2 naira 50 kobo. And this woman is as poor as we are, because somebody who is selling gari, sugar, granite, and fried fish is also poor. Then the woman looked at me in my poverty and said to me, get out of here. I am not responsible for your father's misfortune. Inside poverty. But we're both poor, but it's just that our own, the level was strong. Listen, and that's like the beginning of my transformation. Those words. It sparked up hope in me and said, no, this is not how life should continue. Who sinned? Why should this happen to me? They just brought me into the world and I began, all my life I was suffering. Everything was hard. Life was hard. Life is so hard that anything I touched was really hard. Something that, people tell you, maybe you are under a curse or something. Do you know how many times I wrote jam? I wrote jam 5 times. When I wrote the 6th time, they seized the result. Of course, they should seize it. They should. Because if you do the sixth one and they release your result, 7 means perfection. That means I qualify to be called a JAMB ambassador. I don't know if you use JAMB brochure in your time. Did you use the hard copy brochure? Or is it online, Abby? So there is this hard copy brochure that in the first 2 pages, you see one Mohammed Sulaiman something. They teach you how to fill your form. One day I was angry and I said, this boy it's been his face that they have been using since. That for me that I've written JAMB 5 times, I'm qualified to be the JAMB ambassador teaching people how to fill forms. Because I was filling forms. But I made a lot of mistakes. You know why? Because even when I needed to change and go to another course, I was telling myself, it's either medicine or I die. Then my father too had his own version too. It's either University of Ife or University of Lagos or UI, Ibadan. That's what's going on. I would have picked up microbiology, JJ. I would have picked up biochemistry. Bad pass, I would have started cell biology and genetics. They offered me CBG, which I reluctantly took. You'll be walking down with people and you're going to feel like you're the worst person. How can you be doing CBG when your mates are doing proper medicine? Pharmacy. Everything was hard. That was my transformation. One day, we met a man who used to work in Nigerian Bruce, who knew our dad. He didn't believe what was happening to us. The first level of favor he wanted to do for us is that they just released a kiosk. I don't know if you know what they call kiosk. Made of wood. Amstel Malta just released a kiosk that particular year. And he was so generous and said, come and pick up a kiosk. In fact, he said, do we have car to come and pick? He said, car. He said, okay, we should bring a truck. I said, we can't afford it. So they brought the kiosk to our house, the back of our house. And they gave us an instruction. This kiosk is written Amstel Malta. Only sell Amstel. You know Amstel Malta, right? Inside this kiosk. Ladies and gentlemen, in case your path ever crosses with a depreciated part of the wood on the ground, of the wood from that kiosk will tell you that there's a family to never go to. It's our family. Because we were to sell Amstel Malta, we sold Coke, Fanta, Amstel, Maltina, even the companies against Nigerian breweries. We sold all their drinks there with pure water. Then we now put show glass inside of it. The show glass had balls, puff, chin. You think that was the end? We started selling egg inside the place too. You would have thought that was all. It's not true. In the night, we rented a space for somebody to be sleeping. So you use it to sell all through the day, and we are saying, how can you just close a shop like that, and the next morning, nobody slept over? That's how we call this man, Oya Lati, come and start sleeping there. And he was paying us. He too will wake up 4 a.m., take his bath outside, find a place to go to for his destiny, come back by 10 p.m. So we're collecting rent, we're landlords in our own right, collecting rent, and we're selling. At the end of the day, you look at everything made, it was nothing. It was difficult. One day I met a woman, the woman who was going to sell eggs for me. Let me begin to round up this. I was doing a class. I was taking corporate finance class for my students in Europe. And as I was taking corporate finance, I was taking a particular course that had to do with debt management. Then one of my students from probably from, I think she's Pakistan, but she lives in the UK. She said, you just taught so topic now, and I really enjoyed it. And the girl said to me, sir, where did you school? I said, guess. She said, you must have schooled either in Harvard, Princeton, or Yale. I said, me. Nobody in my father's house has seen the signboard of Harvard. No, not that you entered Harvard, that there's something called me, Princeton, Yale, maybe Yale, Yale Community School or something. And She expected me to. I said, no. I said, yes. Now that I'm schooled and I've done courses and all of that, but I didn't go to that kind of school that you thought. I didn't go to that kind of school. You know, I met a woman called Mrs. Gazama. She used to be in the Deeper Life Church. And let me tell you, this is the first name I'm mentioning. And I have my reasons for mentioning the woman's name. Because I've been looking for somebody from her family. Because we lost connection with them. And honestly, if I find somebody in her family, I will make them well. Don't come and meet me after now. I went to meet the woman and I said, can I sell eggs? She said, yes, bring your money and start. I said, I don't have money. She said, what can I do? I said, just trust me, ma. I knelt down. Just trust me, crying. Just give me the egg on a Monday morning. I will bring the money on Friday. She said, go and come back. God's so good. She said, I can start doing it. Then I carry the egg to somebody that I've bought on credit. And the woman says she won't buy egg. You won't buy what? You won't buy what? I felt disappointed, frustrated. I went back. I got another strategy. Then I went to I said, I want to sell egg for you, but don't pay me. Pay me on Friday when you have removed all your profit. Pay my money and don't pay me on a Monday. They said, our customer collects money immediately. I said, forget about your customer. I will give you for free. Just pay me on Friday. That's how I started selling 10 crates. From 10 crates, 20 crates. In a week, I was selling about 40 crates in a week. And listen, I'll go back on Friday to collect my money. It's just that as Africans, we are not truthful to ourselves. Till date, some people are still owing me money. And if I find them, in case they are your parents or connected, I will collect it. Because I will not forget their face. I will not. So when you read my profile or you hear this or hear that, so the video didn't work. You would have seen where a couple of governors were talking about me, about 6 governors speaking in that video. And they were just talking about the things that I do for them and all of that. You hear that, you think, oh, people just emerge. People just don't emerge. People go through processes that go through life. I would not assume there could be a few people who maybe your trajectory could even be like that. So let me share with you 2 out of 5 things I would have shared on what helped me in my transformation process. And this is where I needed to write it down as we turn the curtain. That's like 20% of the story. 20% of the story. I'm not sure if there will be time for questions today. Are we together? No, we're not together. Are we together? Yes, good. You can catch me up online. Do you do LinkedIn, Chrisland? Oh, fantastic. That's where you should be to professionally position yourself. You find Dr. Akin Akinpelu there, you can hit on me. If you like IG, I am Akin Akinpelu. Follow and talk to me. Once you tell me you're from Chrisland, I'm going to give you priority of my time. And I can tell you the truth, I am very busy, but I will give you priority of my time. So if you can today, ensure that you do the following so you don't forget. I am Akin Akinpelu. Now listen. I share with you 3 things that I think can help you. There are other stories I wanted to share, but there's no time, and I cannot keep the Vice Chancellor sitting here because she has been gracious enough to stay with us. Number 1 is the power of vision. Everybody shout vision. No, you're not shouting. Everybody shout vision. Shout it again. Say vision. Now, vision is very powerful. It's very powerful. Vision is the mental picture of your future. I'm not trying to play with words. That's the best way I can explain it. The mental picture of the future. And I know that you would have heard it on this ground many times. Where do you see yourself? Even the Vice Chancellor mentioned it today. Where do you see yourself? Where are you going to? In one of my stories, when I was teaching in the tutorial school, I was teaching what they call lesson. It was a tutorial school where you teach and I get 100 naira per hour, and my salary in a month was 5,000 naira. In a full month, from Surulere to Aguda, 5,000 naira. I picked up One day, I picked my passbook. So then you could have passbook that looks like a check. So I never had a checkbook. So I got my passbook. I will write myself a check. Me, my own passbook, I write myself and say, pay Akin Akinpelu the sum of 10,000 naira. It was a dream for myself that one day I will be able to afford 10,000 naira. But I tell you, it was very lofty. 10,000? How? I've written 20,000. I will write a check to myself, 50,000. I was sharing with my wife yesterday night at 3 a.m. I was sharing her a book I've been using for 28 years. And she saw all the checks. It just dawned on me that I've never shown her, all the check that I said I wrote down. I was sharing with her like 3 a.m. yesterday. Someone said, you are married. Yes, I'm very married. Very married. You must have, I will get newspaper, put it around the room. This is where I'm going to. That's what I want to become. Vision is going to separate you. Dr. Dario said 20 children cannot play for 20 years. This is my version of that. You see, there are no classmates in life. All these were classmates. There are no classmates in life. When you live here, you will all determine your classes. When you live here, there are people that will not be able to greet you on the road because of the way they would have wasted their time in life. Have you not seen people that would look at someone and say, I know this was my classmate, or do you have his number? Does he talk to me, to you? Does he? One day somebody said to me that it's time up. Thank you, sir. No, it's even too much. This is too much. You are too generous. It's too much. I won't spend up to 10 minutes here. Yes, now we need to go. And the picture. Vision is going to separate you. You don't want to leave Chrisland and in 10 years you are trying to hustle on somebody that was your roommate. Do good stuff. Have a dream for your life that you're going to be so big. Your parents may not have given you that picture, but you give yourself that picture. Do you know how many times I've traveled in my mind? I'll enter aeroplane. In my mind, I pay for ticket in my mind and I will fly. And this is not witchcraft. This is just imagination. I'll fly and I will come back and I'll tell everybody I'm back. And I started giving people gifts. It was a vision for me that one day I will enter the aeroplane. And the first time I entered the aeroplane, people didn't know why I knelt down inside the aeroplane like a bush person. How can you be kneeling down to thank God? Can't you just bow? I'm the one that knows what is happening to me. That I can go to a place in 40 minutes that I would prefer to spend 14 hours on the road. God is good. I'd rather save the money than go in that aircraft. That's attribute of poor people. We save money, we waste time. We save money, we spend time. Rich people, they save time, by spending money. So somebody say, let me reduce the money, 40K for flight care. I'll be 200K for flight. And when I'll go by road, 18K. Let me save 180. You're still at the level of poverty. Yeah. One day I'm going to teach you about relationship management. Any year, I'm privileged to be here again. I'm going to teach you some things. Maybe the graduating class. I have a lot to share and help you with that. Vision will help you. Number two, the second thing, I'm going to stop on number 2. And the remaining 3, you can go get it later. Number 2 is the power of relationship. Everybody say power of relationship. Scream it again, power of relationship. The greatest mistake you can make is to look down on your classmate today or anybody you are sitting with and think that because you have looked at their life and their track record, maybe because they are not doing well in the classroom, maybe they are failing or they are not, and you decided to cut off from them. Listen to me. Don't ever make that mistake. If there's anything, somebody asked me a question one day, if you are to return back to the university, what will you do? I said, I will go back and make friends with everybody. I will spend good time with good people, lesser time with very funny people, but I will ensure I have good relationship with everybody. There are people who are doing amazing things, running amazing corporations. Those were the people we saw that day, and we call them NFA. What do you call NFA? No future ambition. Now they have found future. They are now NFAFA. They now have future ambition. Then what are you going to do about it? Let me teach you. Never jam a door. Close a door gently. One day you may need to open it. Did you hear that? One day you may need to open it. Don't slam it. Relationship is powerful. One day, the last example I'll give, and I'm out of your face. I was going to Abia State. How many of you are from Abia State? Oh, wonderful people. With all, put your hands down, because if you know what I want to say next, you will not have put your hand up. But with all simplicity, I like you, but you guys don't have airport. You don't have airport, so, and even till now, you don't have, and so this was probably about 20-something years ago. So I was going to fly, so I went through Owerri. How many of you are from Imo State? Beautiful. So I came from Sambakwe Airport, not so tush like that, sir, but we came through the airport, and when I got there, on my way, the next person that sat down next to me, I have a principle in life. If you sit down with me, I must connect with you. In systems thinking, there's something called the interconnectedness of human beings and energy. That the fact that I can come to Chrisland today and I can speak to you and I can meet you is a lot in the grand design of what is going on earth for you that you may never know. It may be shocking that you think that I came to impact him, that it could be you that will impact me. Interestingly, you would not know. I was a teacher in the secondary school. For the records, I taught Bonner Boy. Listen, I taught some students. One day, one of my students called me, a senior manager in Amazon, and said, "Sir, we have a training in Amazon. Can you come and do it for us?" That was the student that I trained. And that's why when I train educators and teachers, I tell them, come, you need to understand a generational shift and how to deal with it. If you sit down with me, I believe that life connected us together. This short man entered. Very short looking brief. By the time I'm done with this story, you know that the man is taller than I am. Though physically, he's short. He came in, sat down. I said, "Good morning, sir." That's my first approach. I don't need to know what to say, but just courtesy. "Good morning, sir." I said, "Good morning. How are you, young man?" I said, "Fine, sir." And he picked up a newspaper and he started reading. I said, "What do you do, sir?" The man didn't answer me. He picked up his newspaper. He began to read his newspaper. And I was thinking in my mind, that how can I spend so much money and I will not make network? I will not have relationship. So do you think I came to the aeroplane to eat juice and to drink juice and to be eating cake? I can eat that in my house. That's not why I came. I'll be drinking coffee. I want to meet a human being, speak to them. Sometimes you meet people who have brains. You meet some people who have incomplete brains, but at least you meet somebody. I've seen pretty fools before. I've seen handsome idiots. I've seen all kinds of people, but it's good. I hope you know you can be handsome and stupid. Yes, you can be pretty and foolish, so it's not a big deal. It's the values that you have in your life that's what separates you as a person. You say people with beauty, no brains, so it's good to be BB, beauty with brains, and it's good. So, and they just announced 10 minutes to the end of the flight. Wow. And I said to myself, BC, the money is gone. Let's be going. Then the man just closed the newspaper and he said to me that, "I'm sorry, it looks like you wanted to talk to me." You shouldn't have even said anything. Then I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm sorry, but I was busy. I was reading about myself." See, the offense in my heart left me. The statement he said glued to me. I was reading about myself. Then I don't need anybody to tell me that the person who can be reading about himself in the newspaper must be somebody very, very important. Because I cannot read about myself in the newspaper. Then we came down. We're coming down. The man carried a suitcase. I said, "Sir, can I help you carry?" The man was shocked. He said nobody has ever told him that in the aircraft before, that they can help him carry a briefcase. I said, "I will help you." I carried the bag and we came down. As we came down, I saw 4 police officers walking towards us. Now I became traumatic. Why was I traumatic? You're laughing. You don't know why you're laughing. But I became traumatic. Why am I traumatic? Because I just got into debt that year. I was into Forex and real estate and a few things, and people had put money into my hands. And the economic upheaval was so poor. Sorry, at that time I had not done real estate. It was more Forex and stock market. So I was helping people to buy shares and put money into bonds and all of that, and mutual money market fund. So I was doing all of that, and I just lost money. All I worked for in my life went down. All I worked for. Then people's money that was over 100 million as at that time went down. And I've been receiving threats that I'm about to go to the prison. So I saw 4 police officers walking towards me. What do you think will be happening in my head? Listen to me. Anything in uniform scares me, including Boy Scout. Even when I see Boy Scout, they cannot do anything to me. I'm feeling bad that they have come to pick. And I said to myself, well, you could come to my house and pick me. Why not pick me in the church or pick me why is it at the airport that they come and pick me? I don't know if it has ever happened to you before, that in 1 minute, you are the writer, the script writer of a movie. You wrote the movie, you acted it, then you mixed it, then you produced it in 1 minute, and it was a finished product. That you can play the story of your life in 1 minute. At the end, you know that this is the end. I said, this is it. Then the 4 policemen walked up towards me. I was just hearing, bring out your hand for anger. The next thing I saw was that they saluted me. It was like they poured cold water to me. And I said, you cannot be saluting somebody that you want to arrest. Then I began to smile. My confidence came back. Then suddenly it dawned on me that I was just being stupid. That it wasn't me that they were saluting. They were saluting the man that was next to me. The man, because how did I know that? They requested for the briefcase. Then I knew that I was just being stupid, thinking they were saluting me. They were saluting somebody important in life. So, and I said to the man, I wish we could talk, but can I have your contact? And the man said to me, fine, take my card. I took his card. Don't worry. I took his card. Can you still see me? As I took his card, I just went to where I'll pick up my luggage. As I got to where I'll pick my luggage, I just said, let me even see who this short man is. Because short people. I looked at it. As I opened it, I saw a name there. The name I saw was Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Listen, as at that time, he was not your vice president. As at that time, he was not yet the Attorney General. He was Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the barrister at a law firm. Law firm. I met him at a law firm. Running his law firm. I think it's Simmons Cooper or something. I can't remember the name of the company. In Ikoyi. And I saw he said, come to my office. So I went to meet I saw his PA. And that was slim, tall, fine man. Maybe they were paying him 40,000 or something. And I'll go to meet the man. Good day, sir. Oga said that I can come and see him. So he noticed that my relationship with Oga got stronger. Then one day he said to me that, why are you always respecting me? You know Oga directly. Stop respecting me. You see, I never make that mistake. If you see a great person, you should honor their personal assistants or their executives or their deputies. Never ever make that mistake. Are we together? Because, you see, one day, I told a governor of a state, are we together? No, we are not together. Let me know when we're together. Are we together? I told the governor of his, I said, Your Excellency, there's a file I'm looking for, and I need to get this thing out, and they have not paid me. Guess what the governor of a state said? The governor said that they can't find the file. A governor. Of course. Then somebody told me who was sitting on that file. This old woman, like a black tiger. And I noticed that her countenance had been bad to me. I didn't know she was going to show me. Just a secretary. She was the one. And once they take your file out, even if you know the president of Nigeria, they can't pay you. When I went there one day with my staff, they thought their boss connected strong. They thought I was going there with confidence. I went to see the woman. When I saw the woman, I prostrated to greet the woman. My staff did like this. Yeah. My staff couldn't even bend to greet the woman because they don't like her. And the woman laughed, said, Dr. Akinpelu, you have done well. He said, I know why you are here. I will bring out the file for you. You see, emotional intelligence. You can't say, I'm Gen Z. Gen Zs are rude. Don't do that, too. That's our thing. We are rude people. Or we are rude in our family. Is that a good testimony? I saw it. Right before my eyes, the man became Attorney General. Right before my eyes, the man became the Vice President of Nigeria. Right before my eyes, he became the president that Nigeria never had. How would I have known that at a potential state, just like you are seated by yourself, that you could be sitting down with the first lady of a state just in the next 10 years, but you cannot fathom it? Tap your neighbor, say, treat me well. And this is not just one of those G's. Say, treat me really, really well. He said, because a time is coming, you may not be able to access me. You see that? Treat yourselves well. Treat yourselves well. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this will be a good place for me to drop the microphone. There's something I want you to do for me, Chrisland. As I drop the microphone, I want you to stand on your feet and let's tell ourselves and use some words on ourselves. Are we ready? Put your fist up. Say Africa. Now, so I need an outburst of energy. I need people who are excited. I need people who can see hope and resilience. I'm talking to people who will deliver the future of Africa. So can you stretch your hands out and say, Africa, a new generation is rising. If you are sitting down, you are wrong. If you're sitting down, you are wrong. I want you to be so pumped up. Say, Africa, a new generation is rising. Say, I am part of that army that will bring about, put that hand upward, that will bring about transformation in the continent. Say, I vow to deliver the future. Africa will be grateful that I came. Say, I will make Africa proud. Now look at your neighbor and tell them, say, in the next few years, when Africa is being talked about and they mention the names of great people, say, I promise you, I will be one of them. Say, I promise you, I will be one of them. He said, check me out. In the next 10 years, Forbes, say it, I say Forbes will be the least in my achievement, in my time. Say, Africa, here I come. Africa, here I come. Africa, here I come. Thank you very much for listening to me. I want to thank the management of the school. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor, the registrar, our speakers for today.